Tonight, 2 men have been sentenced for killing a teenage boy at a Chula Vista park last year. Good evening, and thank you for joining us. I'm Carlo Cicchetto.
I'm Marcella Lee. Over the summer, both men pleaded guilty to voluntary manslaughter. CBS 8's Anna Laurel was at today's hearing and explains why the DA says this was such a difficult case.
Just moments ago inside, a judge sentenced 2 men to 6 years in prison for killing high school senior Caleb Beasley. Caleb's mother was inside the courtroom, and afterward, she was visibly upset. I asked the district attorney, why 6 years in prison for killing a teenager?
Why 6 years in prison for killing a teenager? And listen, man, I'm going to keep it a buck with y'all, man. A lot of these teenagers are in this street life, they're in this gang life, they're in that op, switch, slide culture where everything's about instantly, taking it to gunplay. So at some point, some people, we're going to have to look at this thing like this, man. The system was not created to handle the volume and the just all-encompassing nature of the violence that we commit on a daily basis. We're overwhelming the system. So you asked for prison reform. You asked for sentencing reform. You asked for all these things. You demanded all these things. And I'm talking to you sisters. And you got it now. Here it is. Voila. Oh, but if the ops kill your kid, then whoa, 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 whoa. Maybe this ain't the case for all that sentencing reform. Maybe you want to use sentencing reform on another case. But these fools just killed my son, so I don't think this is the proper case to be using that stuff. All these progressive ideas. Let's use it on some other woman's son.
Just moments ago inside, a judge sentenced 2 men to 6 years in prison for killing high school senior Caleb Beasley. Caleb's mother was inside the courtroom, and afterward, she was visibly upset. I asked the district attorney, why 6 years in prison for killing a teenager?
In a case like this, it's really hard to say, what is justice, right? I mean, their son is never going to come back.
You hear the pasty white district attorney or assistant district attorney, whoever the prosecutor is on this case. Did you hear her? Look, ain't not gonna bring your kid back, man. But you asked me. The reason I have this job is because the mandate I ran on was that, yes, sisters, I will be lenient on your sons when they come before me for violent crimes and this, that, and the such. I will give them shorter sentences. I will not be racist and sentence them to what they deserve. I will not be racist and ask for, the maximum sentence due to into the guidelines. I will not be racist. I will give your son lenient sentences. This is what you asked for, sister. I am doing it as a pasty liberal female prosecutor. That's basically what she just said. But she can't say that because she'll get fired if she says that.
Why 6 years in prison for killing a teenager?
In a case like this, it's really hard to say, what is justice, right? I mean, their son is never going to come back.
This is 17-year-old Caleb Beasley in his high school senior picture. But Caleb never got to graduate. In March of 2021, he went to Sunset View Park in Chula Vista with a group of people. A fight broke out. Caleb was shot 10 times and died.
So he went to Mount View Park with a group of people. Sounds so innocent, right? Not like he mobbed down to the park with his homies to confront or set it on the ops. He went to Mount View Park with a group of people.
Caleb was shot 10 times and died. Today, a judge spoke to Deontay Martinez and Larry Bradford in court before he sentenced them.
We were both on a path that was destructive, involving thefts and drug sales and weapons possession. And that's what resulted in this death. It's not something that just happened. You were making choices prior to that incident that led to this tragic incident.
He told them they're getting another chance on life.
You're now going to have an opportunity after you've served your sentence to turn your life around, which is an opportunity that obviously the victim will never have.
The two pled guilty to voluntary manslaughter with a firearm enhancement.
Now look at this courtroom, man. You got a glider bailiff in the back, a ombrito bailiff. You got a looks like maybe a ombrito court reporter. You got a Sunman judge. And had these kids gotten 26 years, it would have been like racism, man. He wouldn't have did that with a... He wouldn't have did that if it was a glider team, man. They would have took him to Burger King, man. Gave him probation. But because he's getting 6 years, it's not enough, man. They don't... It's how do you win with these people? How do you win? I would say cut your losses, gliders, and just build a bunch of boats and send these people back. But we're so far from that. You can't win. In any situation, you can't win in any... You can't even watch football anymore. The Sunman quarterback throw interception, and it's a glider cornerback. The cornerback is glider, and the quarterback is a Sunman, and that's some racial issue. If a defensive lineman is a Sunman and the quarterback's a glider, then it's like, oh my God, that's some racial issue. You can't escape this stuff. They've permeated our society with this stuff so that they can use it as a crutch for everything. It's a crutch, and it's always available. It's available for the assailants in this case. If they get a sentence that's too long, it's available for the family of the victim if the sentence is too short. It's available for the judge if they say, "Hey, man, you've been giving out short sentences, man. We want you up out of here. We're gonna bring a new judge in." It's available for the DA if she you can't win.
Now both sentenced to 6 years in prison.
And I understand that, it might seem like a very short sentence to people.
I asked Deputy District Attorney Sherry Somerville about the sentence.
These decisions aren't made lighthearted. They really take a lot of careful consideration into account and what we can prove in a courtroom.
I know one thing I can prove. If you shoot somebody 10 times, it ain't involuntary manslaughter. Now, if the gun goes off and boom, and he just gets shot in the place and he just bleeds up, yeah, okay. 10 times. That's the pressure from sisters to be lenient on thugs and criminals. And it's going to continue to come back to bite them because it's their sons doing it and their sons dying in every city. When you hear there's a shooting, everyone in your mind's eye, if you hear there's a shooting, you're shocked. It's the big one. You might have a heart attack if I told you it was a glider team that did it. If there was a shooting in your city. Now maybe on Brito team you wouldn't be shocked, but if I told you it was a glider team, you probably fall out and pass out from shock. So this woman is only doing what sisters asked her to do. And now they're gonna start getting in trouble for that too. Watch. 5 years from now, sisters gonna be marching and protesting that their sons' lives don't mean as much as another person's life, because if you kill us, the person only gives them such and such years. Then somebody gonna do a study. We did a study and we found out that if you kill a black person, you get less time. There's no wins.
Now both sentenced to 6 years in prison.
And I understand that, it might seem like a very short sentence to people.
I asked Deputy District Attorney Sherry Somerville about the sentence.
These decisions aren't made lighthearted. They really take a lot of careful consideration into account and what we can prove in a courtroom.
She says the two charges fit the evidence and the facts, but she knows justice doesn't always give families what they're looking for.
Where a young man lost his life and they won't be able to see him, growing up and becoming a man and getting married.
In Chula Vista, this is Anna Laurel for CBS 8.